Hello, hello, beautiful people. It's Coach Lucretia Hayes Reno coming to you again today to share some knowledge and some information to be empowered as we awaken and ascend together, as we go further, go higher, get deeper, all of that good stuff, and sharing love and light with you guys. Today we have a few topics in mind, but first I got to mention that I'm really loving this blue, violet, whatever color lipstick this is, that my daughter-in-law gave me. So shout out to Aubrey for picking out something I wouldn't have probably picked out for myself. I'm kind of liking it, digging it. I'm digging it. Y'all can tell me if y'all like it or not. I'm not. I got thick skin. So anyway, guys, today I'm in a great mood. Now, I'm normally I am in a great mood. You really have to really do something for me not to be in a great mood, but I'm in a really great mood, right? And like I'm like on the inside, like bouncing off the walls. And this is the funny thing. It's not like I've won the lottery or an unexpected check came in the mail or I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing. It was just a really good meditation this morning, right? And so I thought about what I wanted to talk about, and I almost didn't do a video today because I've just posted quite a few recently. But you know what? I said I'm going to do it because this is something that's really great and really good to share, and I really want you guys to get this information. Recently, I've been on a new path, a journey, and this journey has led me down some paths, some streets, some portals, some tunnels, some wormholes I wasn't expecting to go down, and I've learned some things that I wasn't looking to learn or wasn't really expecting. And I've also lost some people, and probably I'm going to lose quite a few more with this video. However, I'm in a great mood about it because, finally I found my ability to stand in what I know and stand in my own experience, and that's all I can do. I can't live from your experience and you can't live from mine, but we can share our experiences and create a better picture, a more clear picture of what's going on. See, if you look at life as in dimensions, you got that flat, it's like this right here is what I guess a person would call 1D. It's just one dimensional. And if you add two, you'll have a different side, but then in a 3D, you're getting it from all these different angles. And so it reminds me of this show that came out. Oh God, it's probably been a while now. It might have been even 10 years ago, who knows? But it was called Vantage Point. And in this show, somebody was assassinated or something, but all these different people were telling their story based upon what they saw because they were all in different places. So they all saw something different at the moment of the incident. Okay, well, life is like that. Life is exactly like that. No matter how deep, how knowledgeable, how powerful you think you are, it's like you're still only getting in a certain kind of way, maybe a 1, 2, maybe 3-dimensional shot of your own life, right? So but when you have friends and you have family, those of your spiritual family that can see, sometimes them coming into your life, they bring a new dimension or a new perspective, a different vantage point. So you might be catching it from the north, south, and east. They catching it from the west and above you. Okay, maybe they got an aerial view or whatever the case may be. And so it's important, guys, that we do not stop learning and that we do not close the door to new knowledge, new information, and new people who don't believe like we believe, who don't think the way we think, or whatever. So, with all of that being said, we're going to talk about 7 things today. Yes. And I think by the end of this video, some of you are going to be set free and some of you are going to be pissed off. And it's okay. It's okay. I promise you it's okay. Okay. The first thing I want to discuss is this. When you are looking for truth, you have to start looking within. Why? Because if you're trying to define your truth based upon my life and my experiences and my impression of the things that's downloaded into my system, then you're going to miss something because you are not me. And your purpose is not my purpose. Even if we're purposed to do the same thing technically, like, okay, well, we're both purposed to help heal broken hearts. Okay, but we won't do that in the same way. We're not going to bring the same experiences to the table. And even if we have some of the same experiences, we are not going to have the same perspective of those experiences or the miracles that we have experienced in our life, okay? So you have to remember that while you may think that only your way is right or only her way is right, the truth is there is a certain uniqueness to the way God created us, so that you have to find what's really true for you. Now, a lot of people get upset when they hear that, and they say, "Oh, you're teaching people how to make themselves into gods, and not to honor or worship or whatever the Most High, and yada yada yada." That is so not true, because we find our unique purpose and we find our truth by touching our God particle, our God spot, that place inside of us, that breath of God that when he blew into us, all of us got a unique piece. Not all of us got the same part. We all got a unique piece, and it's imperative that the spiritual teachers, pastors, preachers, apostles, all these different people, the gurus, begin to teach people how to touch their own unique God particle, their own God spot, to get in tune with God on a one-on-one type of thing, so that they can honor their own purpose, okay? So that they can become their highest self, okay? Because what happens a lot of times, what we do is that we get coaches, we get teachers, and we begin to model ourselves after these people. And I'm going to tell you, me first, and every other teacher out there is not a teacher who you should be modeling yourself after them. If anything, you can admire them, you can admire their strengths, you can borrow from their strengths or whatever. But when it comes to you being who you are, that's what's most important. Now, let me say this, because I know some of you are going to go here with this. You're going to say, well, what if my highest truth, or me being myself, is, that I rape little boys, or I rape little girls, or I do this and do that. Those are not self-honoring attributes, and they're not really you. See, I'm going to tell you guys, this is number two in a way, or it ties into number two. It's like there is no way that all of the sordid mess that happens in life can happen outside of a loss of identity, because so many people got amnesia, spiritual amnesia, and sometimes physical amnesia, because they don't know who they are, because they don't know why they are, because they do not have a relationship where they are in connection with the divine, so that they don't feel like they out here in the middle of a sea with no lifeboat, no sail, just matter of time before they drown, nobody gives a dang, that kind of thing. That is why people do things that don't honor them or others. All of the darkness of life comes from a problem with identity. Now, let me say this, because this is number two. Because number one, guys, to just kind of reiterate, is that you have to find your own truth. Number two is you have to remember, because it's really easy to get off. It's really easy to get off because a lot of people because they have not been healed mentally, they take the things that a lot of New Age teachers say and they run with it toward doing what we would consider evil. But you have to keep in mind that your highest self, everything that you do should honor you. I ain't say please you. You're going to do a lot of things that's not pleasing. And it don't matter what religion you in, no religion, atheist, whatever. You can be rich, poor, anything in between. You can be black, white, Asian, Jamaican. You can be whatever. You're going to do some things that's not pleasing to you. But you can live a life that honors you. It's such a big difference. And if you honor yourself in life, you cannot help but honor God, and you cannot help but honor your neighbor, so to speak. So make self-honoring decisions. That's number two. Number three, guys, is this. It's like on this journey, you're going to lose things. You're going to lose people. People are going to walk away. You got to be okay with that. I think one of the best lessons I've learned through my mistakes is that everything that I lose is not a loss. And everybody that I count as an asset or a gain is not a gain. Okay. If at any point in time I have to be untrue to myself, if I have to deny a certain part of myself for the sake of other people, then I have lost me to keep them. And a lot of times in these spiritual journeys and on these paths, we adopt different people's belief system because we want to be accepted by that person. We hide what we know to be true because we don't want to be rejected by a certain group of people. Now, I have been licensed and ordained for 16 years, 16 plus years. It's been a lot of hardships. And it's been a lot of ups and downs. I didn't walk the Christian walk perfectly, but I was very principled. I was one of those people that was all about order. I became protocol director. That's how that happened. And then from there, I ended up training other leaders and ministers because I noticed that they did not have a good working understanding of the Bible. And me coming out of the United Methodist system, you gonna know the Bible if you don't know nothing else. It's like you can look at the United Methodist system as if they're the smart kids, the nerds of the denominations or whatever. You're not gonna just get up there and be preaching and don't know what you're talking about. You're gonna prove yourself worthy first, or at least that was my experience. And rest in peace to my first pastor, Jackie Holmes. He was an awesome pastor. And he didn't play the half stepping. It wasn't just about announcing that you had a call. You had to study and prove yourself. And I thank God for my experience. Now, I said all that to say this. Everything that I've built, the platforms that I've built, millions of people, different hundreds of thousands coming in from different places, all of that, I built it on a Christian platform. And even when I stumbled into this journey that I'm on now, it wasn't because I was looking for an answer. I thought I had the answer. I was 100% certain that what I knew was the truth, and that was just the truth, just the truth, just the truth. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing different, and I didn't want to hear nothing different. Don't even play with me about it, And then I decided to write a book to expose the lie that's circulating in the New Age community and amongst witches and warlocks and gypsies and druids and atheists and the mentalists and the alchemists and the high priestess. I was going all the way in. I'm like, I'm finna to get this thing together. I'm finna to put out a book because I'm losing people I love to this stuff. That's exactly what I thought. But God is so smart that he knew the only way to get me to even look at it was to put me in a position where I felt called to save someone as if they needed saving. And all the time, the person that was needing saving was myself. Okay. Now, when you look at your life right now, I'm sure that many of you have noticed that there's problems with the Bible. There's problems also with the Quran. There's problems with everything, but in all the problems, somehow it still turns out perfectly. The Bible is an absolutely perfect book, but not from the perspective of how we understand it to be. It's not even what we understand it to be. People teach the Bible being the unadulterated, inspired word of God, infallible. But it's a million things in there to contradict themselves. Now, I used to be the type of person, my mind worked in a certain way that I could reconcile every contradiction somehow in my mind and in my preaching. I was good at that. But it's easy to do that outward, but the problem that stirs in your heart when you live in your life and you trying your best to abide by these rules, but it's something missing. You can feel that there's something missing, but you also know you own to something because you have had an experience with the divine and heavenly Father, the Most High. So that there is a God. That you're in some kind of a relationship with him because you can feel him. He's doing things for you. When you're at church, you're not faking the funk when you're up there and crying. You feel something. You're experiencing something. You get free from something through your faith. So you believe in God, but yet that ain't all. Well, all of that brings me to my next point. You cannot be afraid to go find what works for you. You cannot be afraid. You cannot be afraid of who might walk away and who might judge you. You cannot just any longer borrow grandma and mama's religion and try to live off their relationship with God and think that that's going to work for you. It's not. It's not going to work. You're going to keep finding yourself disappointed. Now, I'm going to share this with you guys. I was reading something called the Law of Infinite Data. It says there is more in the universe than we can sense or know. Learning never stops. Okay, and I thought that was awesome. And then they had another law called the Law of Pragmatism, and it says that if a pattern of belief and behavior enables a being to survive or accomplish goals, then it is real or sensible. If it works, it's true. Now, because some of you that come from the same sect that I come from, Bible thumping, faith based, devil casting out, laying on hands, apostolic Pentecostal, speaking in tongues, falling all out type of believer, you're going to immediately think about demons, and you're going to think, okay, well, you could get possessed by a demon, and you could probably lay on hands, you could do this, you could do this, you could do that. And you'll come up with a scripture. You'll always come up with all these scriptures to defend the Bible or to defend God or to defend Jesus when they don't need defending. The truth will never need defending because truth brings proof. Truth brings proof. And it's important that you guys realize. So it's important that you guys get that. And I hate when that happens to me. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I was in a bad car accident and I ended up with a bleeding contusion on my brain. And so I don't know why, since this happened, I do have moments where I literally completely lose a thought. I lose a train of thought, so now I have to do my videos with my notebooks in front of me because I have to recenter myself. So anyway, okay, I think we was talking about these laws. Okay, and I think I read the Law of Infinite Data about their learning never stops, and then the Law of Pragmatism, if it works, it's true, because that was my point, because the truth brings proof. Okay, now, a lot of times we have been programmed, it has been beat into us that we have to take it by faith. There won't always be proof, and we can't always, find what we need, and so we just have to believe, and we'll be rewarded for believing, or we'll be punished for any kind of doubt or fear that creeps up in us. Well, I never believed that. I never could disprove it, but I never believed it, because I'm going to tell you something, guys. I have been gifted from the time I was a child. I lived a hard and rough life because I went through a lot of hard and horrible things. Okay, and so it was times, because I remember after I first got saved and went to church and did that whole thing, I was trying my best. Sometimes I prayed all day long, read my Bible all day long, went to work, came home, and there was nothing else. I was living the best possible life that I could imagine and have ever lived at that time. But I would pray for things and they would not happen, or it would be times when even with that I didn't feel necessarily truly connected. And then there's been times, like for instance with the ex that I ended up stabbing that caused me to go to prison. Okay, for a lot of you would say, oh my God, she can't teach me anything, her life is just out of control. And so in your mind it's like that was punishment and God was punishing you. Prison was the best thing God ever done for me, and I felt so freaking close to him through the whole process. I learned things, I opened up, I was able to heal, and so that I have been in sin and felt the presence of God and seen my prayers answered so many times, and have been what I really thought was as the best person I could be, and doing all these extra arms and everything else that you could do, and there was nothing. And I know for a fact that happened in my life to prove to me that you cannot earn God's grace or mercy. It's all a free gift, just like his love. And so I knew when I was coming into this, I was grounded. That's another thing, guys. I guess we're on number 5 now. I really lost track. But if I miss one, to tell me about it in the comments or something. But I think that puts us as number 5, and that's that we cannot afford to come ungrounded. Ground yourself. You need to be grounded. Why do I bring that up? Because I came into all of this metaphysical, occult, esoteric type of information, new age, some people might want to call it, by accident. Okay. But as I started discovering the truths here and there that plugged the holes that were deep hidden in my heart, I realized that God couldn't be. Listen to me, guys. God cannot be as limited as you got to be a Muslim, you got to be a Christian, you got to be a Buddhist, you got to be, 1,000 different religions. You got to be. God is not that limited. As soon as I started studying this information, and guys, I'm going to try my best to keep it around 30 minutes. We're at 20 minutes now. As soon as I started studying this information, I realized that there was a Jesus archetype everywhere, in every religion, in every time period, in everything that has been recorded. There was always a Jesus type. Everybody. Rather it was in the Asian culture, the Arabian culture, the everywhere. Egyptian, Samaria, all of them had the story of the man who would raise on the third day, of the great prophet who come to show us the way. Now, we could just say what a lot of people say, well, the Bible was plagiarized. Of course it was plagiarized. We already know that anytime you're dealing with ancient texts, people do the best they can to preserve the text, and then they have to try to add in and do different things, and they take away what they feel like people not ready for, and that's cool too. Because you know what? At first, when I discovered that they took reincarnation out of the Bible and that it used to actually be bits and pieces of that in the actual books that's in the Bible now, that they actually just struck some of the scriptures out of these same books that they tell us are infallible. When I realized that, I mean, I was shook. I think I spent my first 2 weeks just sitting around with my head hurting. I was calling all my minister friends. Well, what y'all thinking? They was doing the same thing I wanted to do naturally. Was, well, the Bible say, well, the Bible say, well, the Bible say. The analytical side of us got to know that if something is true, then there'll be multiple ways to show that truth. Okay? So I had to face the fact that the Bible do have plagiarized stories in it, that it was a book put out to control and unify. Because you got to understand, and I hear a lot of black people say, yeah, I'm gonna go over, guys, but I understand if you guys got to come back. If it get a little long, just come back and finish it up, because this is really important information. So anyway, some people really think that the Bible was created just to enslave black people. That is not true. It's absolutely not true. And honestly, black people, I love you. I'm you. You me. We together. We melanated together, okay? But everything is not about black people. Everything is not about oppressing black people. So the book was made to unify a country because a king wanted to rule, but he did not know how to get all of these different factions together. You had a whole bunch of different Christian believers, but they believed Christian differently. You had the people who followed Paul's teachings and his letters and different things, and you had the people who wanted to follow Peter's teachings, and people who just followed whatever the heck they followed, wherever they found it at. But everybody was doing their own thing, and then paganistic belief systems was mixed in there, and they were threatened by pagans, they were threatened by witches, they were threatened by warlocks, because these are people who took matters into their own hands, who dared to believe that they could reach the Most High or the divine all by themselves, without a priest, without leadership, without all of this oversight. Okay, so to them, having a whole lot of people bombarding heaven in ignorance, they would say, trying to effect change was dangerous. Okay, and here's the thing, just so you guys know, I'm gonna help you understand, overstand, and understand something. Okay, magic is the manipulation of energy. We all know this. It goes on in the church all the time. You know, you have the prophet and you have the psychic. And people will argue all day long with one using their powers for the devil. You don't get to define that. You cannot say that this gift is evil and this is good, because you are not in a position to make that judgment, right? Because if a prophet tell me that God said he gonna move for me in 3 days, some kind of specific thing, and it don't come to pass, but a psychic tell me that this is about to happen and she don't put God's name in it and it does come to pass, it ain't got nothing to do with demons manifesting. That has nothing to do with it. Those are the ignorant devices we hide behind so that we do not have to face the fact that we cannot corner the market on salvation. We cannot corner the market on getting to God. You can't do it if you're a Hindu. You can't do it if you're a Buddhist. You can't do it if you're a medicine man or a shaman. You can't do it New Age. You can't do it atheist. You can't do it Christian. You can't do it Muslim, and 50 million other religions that you can come up with. If I can't do it, Kemet can't do it, Black Hebrew Israelites, whatever it is, you got to admit, and you might not ever want to admit, but somewhere inside of you, even as I say these words, it resonates with you. Because why do we bully people and make them think you got to believe exactly how I believe? You have to believe exactly how I believe. I have been called a witch most of my life. Didn't like it, hated it, because it's like a witch. That's like the worst thing in the world. Don't they die? People hate them. They was hung. You know, I remember reading that book in high school, you know, or whatever, about the Salem witchcraft trials, right? So being called a witch was not fun. Now I hang out with witches every day. I love them. They love me. I enjoy their company and I love their wisdom. Witch, a wise woman. And yet Book of Proverbs, chapter 31, 10 through 31, talks about a virtuous woman that's wise. That's what makes her so virtuous. She do this and this and this and this and this. But what is actually pointed out about her the most is that she has wisdom. Okay, now let me go even further with it. When you pray for yourself or anyone else, you are manipulating energy. You're doing magic. Okay, when a witch or when a shaman or when a medicine man or when a anybody who just believe in crystals or just believe that they can reach God for themselves, you know, just an independent, they might not be titled nothing, because I think that that's the next step. And that's what I was going to say for one of the next steps, I think anyway, is that we got to divorce the titles, divorce the stereotypes, divorce the need to be defined, and just be okay with I am. Now, I watched a video the other day and they were saying that that's blasphemous, how people are all of a sudden talking about this I am, and they're trying to take the name of God and blah 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 blah. Okay, that shows you so much about the arguments. We will do anything to defend a religion when religious systems is man-made. They have always been, they will always be, and men do the best we can. Right now, I don't categorize myself as anything, but if I keep teaching over this channel, if I keep blogging and this, that, and other, and then keep writing my books and all of that, keep doing radio, people will begin to follow my teachings, right? And before you know it, it can turn into something without me ever intending it to. It can turn into people defining themselves based off of my teaching and my experience, which I don't want you guys to do it. I don't want you guys to do it for 5 minutes. I don't want you guys to do it for 5 seconds. I am here to encourage you to touch the God in you, to get in tune with the God in you, to fall in love with the God in you, to unleash the God in you, to honor it, to be unashamed and unafraid. Okay, so there it go again, guys. I can't wait till my brain heal. I really hate that feeling. It's just like, it's just a complete blank, like doop, it's just like a reset, right? So anyway, my point in all of that is saying this: when you are trying to corner the market and you're arguing about how nobody else can make it, how do you know that you have not stopped your blessing? How do you know that the very people that you're arguing with are not the angels sent into your life to free you? Because some of the most argumentative people are the main ones with broken hearts, broken homes, broken children, broken finances, broken, just, I mean, just a shattered glass. duct tape together, or whatever they do, monkey glued together, or whatever the case may be. Damaged beyond repair, wishing for some kind of help, some kind of salve, some kind of balm. They want the balm in Gilead to be real, but it hasn't been real for them. And yet you will argue with another person who has visible, tangible peace, who has visible, tangible joy, who has actual benefits in their life. They not worshiping the devil. They not bound down praying to Satan. They not demon possessed. Yes, it makes you feel good to say that they are, or that that's something that they have to be going on, or they burning candles and sage to Satan, because you are trying to explain the failure and the disappointment you feel toward God because your prayers have not been being answered, because your life after 15 years of being in church has not gotten better, because you have gotten so comfortable telling yourself the lie that you no longer even think about the fact that maybe it might manifest. You done gave up on the manifestation. You comfortable with just the pretend. But I am wanting to talk to some people who are no longer comfortable pretending. They're no longer comfortable saying, my life is in shambles and I'm going to church every Sunday and I'm paying my tithes all the time and I'm reading my Bible faithfully and I really try my best to live the best I can, but I am not happy. My heart is still heavy. It's still broken. How can I get some joy? See, if we would just ask God, teach me, and leave it up to him how he's going to teach it, how he's going to bring it to us. Because I'm going to tell you something about God. He will not fail you. Not at all. Not at all. He has your best and highest interest at heart. But sometimes we have been taught erroneously, we teach erroneously, and it feels embarrassing to let go of the lie, and it feels scary. Like I told you guys a few minutes ago, I literally sat around for 2 weeks lost. I didn't know what to do. It's like, what do I stand on if I can't stand on my Bible? You know, what can I do? I don't know how not to pray in Jesus' name. I've been programmed now. And I still sometimes say in Jesus' name. And I don't feel bad about it because that's just how I pray. But I know who I'm praying to. I know that there's a God. And I don't feel, some people say, well, Jesus wasn't a real person and Jesus wasn't his name. Whatever. We ain't going to argue about the semantics. Because honestly, it's like I have to go through this process of deprogramming myself and freeing myself from this matrix, just like you do, he do, she do, and they do. We all have to do it in our own pace. You're not going to make me feel bad because I'm still saying Jesus. I've been saying it for 17, 20 years, really all my life, because even though I wasn't in church growing up, I knew of God and I knew of church and I knew of Jesus. Okay. So anyway, it's like, you have to decide, what do you want most? This is the last one, I think. I don't know, what number I'm on. But you have to decide, what do you want most? Do you want to have a good life? Do you want to have it? Or do you want to just look the part? Can you handle the truth? Can you handle finding out? Because the truth of the matter is the Bible has been tampered with so severely that we can't blame God for that crap. And don't even try it. Don't even try it. I have said always, because some things just have to come from divine revelation, that we are all walking testaments, walking books of the Bible. The Bible will never quit being completed because there are souls still here on this planet. None of us have lived Paul's example. None of us have lived Peter's or nothing like that. We might have similarities that dip and dodge in between all the different people, that stories and stuff that we read in the Bible. But none of us are the same, even twins, triplets, and all of that. They're not the same. Each of us have to be able to admit that we don't know it all. The Bible don't teach it all, but it teaches way more than you expect to find in it. I will not ever tell a person to throw their Bible away because it is the most empowering book in the world. There is all kind of esoteric information, all kind of hidden messages for those who have an ear to hear. Let them hear. It's the reason why that's in there. It's the reason why it's a lot of parables. And even the things that's not parables are parables indeed. It's supposed to be hidden from the dense. the stupid. Okay, and the reason why I say stupid is because stupid is a choice to me. And it's a lot of people who you could give them the whole answer and they'll still tell you lying. It's just like, it's no different than, this back of my phone is blue. You know it, I know it, that's blue. Everybody freaking know it. But it's somebody that I can ask and they'll say, nah, to me it look purple. Like, you know that don't look purple to you. Come on now. It's like, well, it look purple to me and I'm just gonna say it's purple. Why would you do that? Stupid people. So it ain't no point in casting your pearls before swine. So that's why there's a lot of mystery in the Bible. And when you go back to it, because I had burnt out on reading it. I have read it so many times over the years. Had to. You have to. If you're training leaders, if you're dealing with people in a ministry setting, you need the Bible all the time. But I had burnt out. Then when I got this new information, I started reading about, like, for instance, just to give you guys a little bitty taste of, okay, I started reading about astral projection. I've been doing it all my life. I have always been able to see. It's like almost as if my mind goes somewhere else and I can see, and I don't have to fall asleep. I didn't have to lay down or nothing like that. It was spontaneous astral projections. My husband can testify to this because I've done it to him several times. He's like, man, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know what it was called because I'm a Christian. Nothing about that is in the Bible except for maybe being, what did they call that? Transfigured or something like that, something similar to that. But even that wasn't the same. So I didn't have anything to compare that with. I just said, I guess it's just a spiritual gift, It didn't fit into the gifts of the spirit, the 9 gifts of the spirit. But then when I got into the occult, I found out that they have something, or metaphysical study, I found out that they have something called astral projection and outer body experiences. I'm like, I've been doing that forever. Even now, it's times I have learned in my older age to control it some. I can't always do it, but even now I can sit in a spot and just focus in on what I want to know or who I want to see or where I want to be, and then it's almost as if I'm there. Okay. Now, some of you probably think I'm crazy. I'm not telling you something I can't prove. I'm talking about I have so many people, and people who grew up with me can already tell you this. It was a reason why these people used to call me a witch growing up and all of that kind of stuff. That used to make me cry and want to kill myself and then feel like I was worthy of living because I thought a witch was the most evil and worst thing you could be, right? It was because there was magic all around me. So I went to this. I bump into astral projection and out-of-body experiences. I'm like, well, that explains that. Okay, give you another example. I was studying about the 7 Hermetic Principles, right? Or 7 Universal Laws. Some people call it that. And I got to the part about polarity and rhythm. And I was like, wow, that explains everything. Because I used to always tell my ex-husband, it's like my life is cyclic. It's like I can kind of tell how I have figured out the cycle of my life, but it flows in a pattern. It flows in a pattern, and it's always that same pattern. And so sometimes I still make dumb decisions, and I'm not prepared for the swing back, And so, but I found out that there was a pattern. Okay, well, now I realize that this pattern to my life is just like the pattern to your life and everybody else's life and this entire earth and then this entire solar system, this entire universe, this entire multiverse, and that goes on to eternity over and over and over again. Patterns, cycles, because the universe is orderly, because it was created by an orderly God, by the Most High. Okay, now I said all that to say this. You got to get rid of the BS. Drop the BS. Drop the bull crap. No, that's not what it means. Belief system. As long as you tie yourself to any belief system, any defined belief system, you're going to stunt your growth. The only way to be free, to elevate, to ascend in God, to actually wake up to the fullness of who you are. And listen, because I already know some of you probably like, oh, she is teaching that we are God's thing. Okay, we are, because all things begot after themselves, correct? God said, let us make man in our own image. That's for those who believe in the Bible. And every holy book has a creation story. And in the story, we're always created in the image, or either with the DNA, if you believe the alien creation story from the Sumerian text, Enlil and Enki. Okay, but whatever the case may be, we're created with the DNA or in the image of whoever it was that created us, right? Okay. Except unless you're an atheist, then you think you came from apes, and my thing is, or monkeys, my thing is, why are there still monkeys? Every time anything has evolved into something totally different, whatever it was actually goes extinct. Things only evolve because they have to. Okay, and it's just freaking ridiculous for a person to still think that they evolved from an ape. Seriously? I'm not mad at you. I still love you. I just think that's kind of a dumb belief. It just don't make logical sense. It don't make 3-year-old sense. I didn't believe that crap when I had to study and take a test on it in school, right? So anywho, my point is this, guys, because we've been a bit long in the tooth, but you have to stay in a position to grow. You were not put on this earth to identify with a religion, any belief system. You were not put here on this earth to even identify with any race, any sex. You know, you're not just a female. You're not just a black person. You're not just a Christian. You know, and when we embrace these titles, or just a mother, just a wife, just a husband, just a entrepreneur, I mean, when we embrace all these titles, even if we embrace 20 of them, we really start thinking that we're getting a good idea of who we are. That's not. Those are limiting, further limiting belief systems. Because yes, you know what? I might be a nurse tomorrow. I might be the next day, a rodeo, what they call them, a bull rider or some crap like that. Next week, I might be a school teacher the next week, because I can do all things. I can do anything. I am made in the image of God. I am empowered to design my life, because He gave me life as a gift. And then I have to make something out of it, and not be that foolish one that buried their gift in the ground and said, I know how hard it is. I fool around and mess up. No different than a person who know they can see, know you could prophesy, know you always had the gift, but you like, shoot, I prophesy wrong to somebody and fool around, they blood gonna be on my hand. I ain't gonna prophesy to nobody. That's not wisdom, that's fear. So what you make out of your life is your gift back to the divine, to our heavenly Father. Father of lights. I love calling Him that. You will lose people, but you will not lose anybody that ain't supposed to go anyway. See, some people, it's just no different than company. You know, me personally, you know, they say company after 2 days. I ain't gonna lie, I can't hardly stand company longer than an hour, maybe 2 hours if they funny. But after a while, company get annoying. Okay, get tiresome. Go home. I'm tired of you. Get off my phone. I don't want to talk no more. Don't call me. Don't text me. I'm done with you today. Call me next month or whatever. Okay, so but when people stay around longer than they're supposed to, it just becomes a problem. So I challenge you guys to live your life open like this. Just open. Your heart space open. Open to love and receive love from whoever is offering it, and whoever you come in contact with. Your mind open to consider. I'm not telling any of you to go get you a upside down pentagram, start making the hand signs, whatever they do, all that stuff, and start praying out to demons. I'm not saying that. No, not at all. But what I am saying is, you need to let God, if you trust Him, you got to trust Him. Because if you can't trust Him for you to grow, for Him to guide you in all knowledge, then you don't trust Him. If you can't trust Him to teach you while you're here, how can you trust Him to save you when you leave here? Come on now. It won't work. It won't work. So when I, about my second or third month, I said, you know what? I done got this far. I'm going to dive in. Just forget it. Ain't no point waiting and playing with it. The water's cold. Hop my butt off in there. We're going to see what happens. And I trust you. I trust you to keep me away from things I shouldn't be dabbling in. I trust you to keep me in a position where I make decisions that honor me. I trust you to teach me how to interpret the things that I learn so that it's beneficial for me and others that I come in contact with. And that's a real relationship with God. And He'll do just that. And you might discover you have more in common with the wise women, the witches, than you think, than the voodoo priests than you think. You might discover that you've been doing magic in the church building all your life. You probably gonna discover that everything you got in your life right now is because you have designed your life to be that way. I'm sure you will. And in all that discovery, you also are going to discover a better life, a happier life, more peaceful, because you'll have more answers, and that's what's important. Guys, this has been my time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing and liking and all of that. Be sure to share and comment. If you have questions or concerns, the comments below, or email me at lucretia.hayes@gmail.com. Go and have a blessed rest of the day.